First of all, I'd like to say thank you to everybody that came to the Worldwide Rally for Freedom. And I can't even remember the date, Saturday 21st of May. Today was about, for the last year, for the last year now, we've been doing Worldwide Rally for Freedoms in 160 cities all across the world. So today was actually our 8th Worldwide Rally for Freedom, and they're bi-monthly. So the UK has taken part in it since day one, and we really wanted to focus on the children. We have had a focus, especially in London, on the children from the very beginning. But we don't want them to get lost in everything else that's going on. We're looking at energy prices increasing. We were just talking about monkeypox, all this nonsense, Ukraine, this war we're seeing, all these distractions, and we seem to be forgetting that they're now 5 to 11-year-olds. And the FDA is trying to rush for 6 months, but they've been pregnant women since June of 2021. So really today was all about the children. And we sent a message to the government like we did with the NHS mandates, which was them giving their uniforms back basically to Boris. So today we replaced that with teddy bears from the children. And we held a little vigil with helium balloons. But really, we just want to keep going, and we do keep going. And we find that the numbers, I think, since essentially has finished, since expired, people think it's all over. But we're looking at a treaty that's meant to be signed tomorrow. We're meant to be giving up our sovereignty tomorrow. And people they don't realise what's going on, and we have always shed light on that kind of stuff. But again, like I say, the children, and that's what today was about. So we met outside the BBC, made a lot of noise outside the BBC. Now, it's always a great location, but you never see the BBC reporting anything. You just see them taking pictures from the inside of the building, and you see it appear on social media. We met at the BBC. It was a short march because the children led our march today. We ended up at number 10 Downing Street, where we had some music. We made some noise because the PCCS bill is now just passed. Which basically means that when they decide to enforce this legislation, they'll be enforcing it and putting sanctions and conditions on any protest. You have to ask for permission. We've never asked for permission, and we won't ask for permission. But what they're going to do now is come and tell you, oh, if your music goes this loud, if you haven't got permission for that music, we're going to declare this illegal. And what happened in summer of 2020 when they declared a protest illegal? A peaceful protest, they came in with batons and weapons. We had the riot police, we had the mounted police, and we saw that, and we're going to start seeing that again. So the very act of protest is becoming an act of defiance. And actually all you're doing is exercising your human rights peacefully. So that's one thing, that's the reason we do it. The reason we do it is because we've never given up our freedoms. We've always stood for other people's freedoms, and we're exercising that right, our human right, and also, as I say, it's an act of mass non-compliance and defiance. So I'm not going to give up organising these things, and I don't think many, many thousands of people will give up. So like I say, we see the numbers sort of dwindle a little bit after expired. People believing there's never going to be another lockdown without reading the legislation they're trying to put in place, which is the online harms bill, the PCCS bill. People don't want to read it. And all I'd stress as well is read it and see what's going to happen. If thousands of people read when it was made public on the 23rd of March, after the 19th of March it was downgraded, and they've never, ever, ever done that before. Why weren't people asking questions and then informing themselves? So it does get a bit frustrating. I read hundreds and hundreds and probably thousands of pages of legislation. I'm not trained, but I read it to inform myself. So I stress now that people go and do that with the treaty. It's on their own website. If you haven't read about Agenda 2030, you can find it on World Economic Forum. You can read the PCCS bill. You can read the online harms bill. It's all there and accessible. But don't expect other people to inform you at things like this. We need to be going to protests and marches because we've read that and we see how sinister and evil these agendas are. But again, thank you to everyone that came. The children led our march today, and they did an amazing job. And these kids shouldn't be fearful. The government has made them fearful. And that's not the way that we deal with this. This is why we try and have these sort of uplifting, positive marches. But really, these parents are protecting their children, but who's protecting the children of the parents who are not informed? So I'm sorry, I ramble very much because I feel so passionate about it, but I'm not going to give up. We'll always find a clever way around certain legislation that might try and restrict us. But it was a really, really good day today, really positive everyone was feeling positive and high vibes, so hopefully that will encourage more people to come out. And because we went through central London, we did BBC, all via central, sort of Soho, Piccadilly Circus, and down Whitehall, tourists everywhere filming us. So I do believe the word gets out, because they're filming us on their social media, and they wouldn't know what was going on, but people are seeing it. So we just have to keep going. The thing is, the reason I got involved in organising was because I saw an area that we could do so much more, but the experience wasn't there with people to be able to organise certain things, or they wouldn't know how to book a screen or how to do these things. And I thought, I'm going to use my skill and do that. Sometimes we fundraise, sometimes we haven't fundraised. And to be honest, that's also becoming very difficult. People are expecting this, massive things, but then wondering, where's the money come from? How do you think we do this? So many of us have paid thousands out of our own pocket to make these things possible, to have the biggest impact. But yeah, from the very beginning, all I was doing was using my skill to try and think of something creative every time we've done this, not to have them the same all the time. We've had 1.2 million people. That's a fact, actually. That wasn't just us. We said over 2 million, and we probably believe that. But when you've got a 6-mile long march and you see the footage and the time lapse, you know how many people you've got there. And then the media talks about it being thousands. So yeah, I think there's lots of groups that have done a great job, like Save Our Rights, Sanapex have also been there from the very beginning. You've got Piers Corbyn, Stop New Normal. You've got all these groups that are doing amazing things, that all support each other. And I would just say to people to keep supporting them as well. But the consequences of doing so for the organisers, clearly, convictions, I've now got 7. Maybe I wouldn't have got 2 of those unless I was so feisty with my mouth and a megaphone. But yeah, I've got 5 just for organising protests, holding gatherings of more than 6, more than 30, and gathering in a group of more than 2. Whereas Boris Johnson holds 12 parties at number 10. Well done! Hope you won! So Boris Johnson got one £50 fine for holding multiple parties at number 10. During the period in which I was convicted, and I was fined hundreds of pounds, and I have a criminal conviction. Now, all right? I don't care about criminal convictions. I really don't. I really don't care. It's not going to deter me from it, and they know that it's not going to deter me from it. And I've said to people, I don't have children, but I'm fighting for yours, as are many people you see relentlessly fighting. So we're going to keep going regardless. I'll either be dead or in prison. It's not over. It's not over yet. It's not going to be over until we have battled every single part of Agenda 2030, all this control, every single bit of it. Do not get lost in the politics. Do not get lost in the false flags. It does not matter which party is in power. It doesn't matter, because it's not the governments across the world that are running it. They are the puppets of the elite, and I think we know that. But don't get lost and don't get distracted, and also don't get deterred by threats. Because there are people who will lead, who will still keep going, and we need thousands of people. We need thousands and thousands of people on the streets. But keep going, because it's not over, and we need to do this for our children.